Hi, I'm Glenn Kessler, and I'm the founder and president of HCD Research. It's been 25 years since we entered the world of market research as an entity, and I thought I would take a few minutes to give our positioning, experience, and observations related to the industry of market research.
I'm Allison Gakowski. I'm the Director of Communication and Sensory Applications here at HCD, and I've been with HCD for 8 years.
So my name is Michelle Nagella, and I work as VP of Research and Innovation at HCD. I've been working here since, I think, January 2014. So I guess that makes it like 5 years, right?
Hi, my name is Catherine Ambrose, and I'm a behavioral research scientist, and I actually just started working here. This is my first year. I started in January.
Hi, my name is Marcella Markman. I am the VP of Sales and Marketing, and I've been with HCD for 14 years.
One of the other major, if not the major change in market research in the last 25 years is the use of applied neuroscience. That has changed research significantly.
When you add neuro into the mix, you get a whole different perspective that you can't get without that non-conscious response.
When you add neuro is that you get this whole other perspective, whether it's neuro or psychology or whatever it is. It's not just asking someone a question, so you might actually be learning something about how someone gets to that answer when they say, yes, I like it.
It really enhances and further explains what traditional research cannot.
Now, not only can you report what people say, but you can determine and report why they said it.
You get this added feature of things that you wouldn't have necessarily caught if it was something just an interview or a traditional survey.
It adds a whole plethora of really interesting insights and things that consumers just can't tell you. They're not consciously aware of it. So by getting really those underlying drivers to what they're saying and the way that they're acting, it becomes really interesting in order for us to understand that full picture.
It's difficult for people to articulate why they feel like they do about something. With the use of applied neuroscience, we can now determine that and make it part of an analysis and interpretation, allowing us to make better decisions.
So I've always said it kind of looks at things with both eyes wide open now. It completes the picture. You're seeing the story for what it really is. So while the traditional research really got us so far, I think that neuro helps us really fine-tune those responses, understand them better, further explore certain needs that have come out of the traditional research. So it really is taking that the traditional research that we're used to one step further and giving us better, richer, deeper insights.
The largest lesson I learned in market research. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Technology does impact our area of specialty.
The largest lesson I learned is never assume anything.
Always to stand firm behind methodologies and tools' strengths as well as their limitations.
For example, we had research with cystic fibrosis patients, and we were working with a panel partner and weren't understanding why our incidence rate was 0.01%. And then we found that they were really just targeting patients with cysts.
I think oftentimes clients like to explore new technologies and techniques and push the envelope a bit, as well as other research partners. And it's really important to stand by what the methodology and tool is actually used for, rather than possibly just taking on a project to explore and realizing that your data is going to be not exactly what you were hoping for or able to deliver the story that you were intending, and you can't really work with it as well.
So never assume someone knows what they're talking about, and always over communicate. That's what I really stress, is over communication is always better.
Really be able to see it from an unbiased perspective, or at least recognize your own bias, so that way going forward you can be extra aware of that and be sure to analyze things accordingly.
I think learning how to speak the language of the people that you're talking to. You know, not everybody speaks the same language, so as one person's from marketing and another person's from product development, or maybe they're a chemist, you know, being able to like speak on the same topic can actually be really difficult. So I find that kind of learning the lingo that someone uses can really help in being able to effectively communicate with them.
Technology that's applied in different areas can be applied to market research.
Just be open to other people's ideas, right? So I think, you know, you may think that you're right, and you may think that you know the right way to do something, and it turns out that like someone else actually knows better, and there's humility to understanding that and letting go of being the expert, and I think that that's really powerful.
So about 14 years ago, back in my heyday.
In the early 1990s when we started, we were mainly using direct mail, telephone, and focus groups. And that was the same technology that was used for the 30 years previous to that.
A lot of the buzz was always around conjoining, sophisticated multivariate techniques of that kind. So it was really focused on the statistics and the modeling and the data. So really using conjoint was probably the most popular technique at the time, and any other type of sophisticated modeling you could then take thereafter.
Most popular research methods today relate to some quantitative tools like conjoint analysis, max diff, and implicit testing, which borders on applied neuroscience. We categorize it as a psychological test, but it's a method to identify the subconscious feelings or understandings people have about some issue or stimulus.
So I think today's methodologies are really the buzz. Obviously neuroscience and neuromarketing and different ways of brain science that people are adding to their tools, but also you're hearing a lot about AI, and that's can't really go to a conference without hearing about it. Virtual reality is really top of mind and something to explore. So it's really, I think, getting more techie based than in the past was more method and math and statistics behind it. Now it's all about the different tools and technologies that you can add in, and now even more so psychological. So that's been an interesting addition that we've seen as well. So I really think it's gone from more traditional stat field to techie.
Really popular today are things like semantics, rapid turnaround within 24 hours of quantitative methods. Obviously neuroscience or neuromarketing hype is a big thing. Implicit testing, buzzwords like System 1 and System 2, as much as we might despise those words internally here, it's definitely kind of the things that our clients are talking about.
Really popular is of course qual, right? So where you just like sit down like one person to another person interview, and you just ask them like, oh, do you like this product? Why do you like it? And then a step up from that is focus groups. I think everybody knows focus groups. People make fun of it in TV shows and stuff, where you have people behind the glass window, right? And everybody's, you know, talking about a commercial or a product or whatever it might be. But I think other super popular things as far as like my side of the field go with like neuro and psychology, I think facial coding is super popular just because it's cheap and easy. But you know, my honest opinion is that you get what you pay for. So like we tend not to prefer to do facial coding. I think there's better ways to you know, get the answers that you want. If you're going to be spending money, you might as well do it the right way the first time rather than, you know, risk it.
Eye tracking for visual attention, and I think another really big area would be utilizing implicit testing, just so you can get a better understanding of the associations people have when looking at a product.
One of the highlights of my time and the existence of HCD Research was in the early 2000s, our company worked with media and tested political commercials, presidential commercials in the 2004 and 2008 presidential cycles. And it allowed us to learn a lot about the impact of positive and negative political advertising. It also brought us a lot of TV face time, allowing our clients to see us doing something other than the narrow focus of their projects.
That was outside of working at HCD. I can think of when I first started working in personal care. So personal care is when you, it's like all the products you use in your personal life, your face wash, your tampon, your, whatever it might be, it's personal use, right? And I was working at a company that makes personal care products, and it was like my first week. And I went in coming from academia, and my boss sat me down and he said, okay, we just got to get this over with. And I was like, okay, what is it? And he was like, we're gonna taste test these sexual lubes. And I was like, okay, we're really doing this, let's go for it.
So funny moments at HCD.
Any time that I have to travel with Glenn Kessler.
Glenn, I feel like this is like so risky to talk about. He is always great for a story of comedy.
It's guaranteed that he's either leaving his bag somewhere, his fly is unzipped.
And one time I was on a business trip with him, and he was in the car, or he was driving, I should say, which I will never do again.
Or in general, he's making some type of joke or comment.
But we were in the car, and we had to turn around and go to a different direction on the road. So we pulled into like a little shop, and he did the Austin Powers forward, reverse, forward, reverse, forward, reverse until we got to the edge of the street.
The client might not understand.
And this truck goes, come on, you can come on. And he goes, thanks, hits the gas, and we fly in reverse.
I think another industry that could really benefit from using neuroscience tools would be just the consumer space that cares about animal and animal care, because that is an area that you don't necessarily have an idea of what the animal's thinking. Obviously, that's something that you're kind of assuming that they have consciousness, and that could go into a whole different realm. But really focusing on the pet owners and seeing what matters to them, and seeing what they care about as a product when they're taking care of their animals.
I love going to the spa, so for me, I would love to be able to optimize every single aspect of it, from when you walk into the lobby, the robes that they give you, every smell and texture and color that you're exposed to can really be optimized to make the experience the most luxurious and relaxing that it could possibly be.
There are tremendous applications in media testing, but even more, it's possible to look at people's perceptions of product use experience and combine that with the messages that companies develop for those products.
One place I would really like to go into is really the whole leisure thing. So thinking about vacations and travel. I think, because I come from a sensory research background, and I think there's so much sensory when you go and visit a place, whether it's India or Vietnam or Thailand or Texas, the taste, the smells, the colors are all different. And I think that there's really something to that, especially if you just think how, people do market these places to attract people to come to. And I think there's something to that. And I think there's some really interesting stuff there.
Now you can confirm that the product meets the promise. What the product does and how it makes you feel can be coordinated and made congruent with the communications that suggest how you will feel when you use the product.
What I really want people to understand most about HCD is that we are here to meet our clients' needs in what we think is the most appropriate way.
I think we spend a lot of time really trying to help educate people. We want to be a resource for people. So if they have questions about applying these new technologies, we want to be someone that they can come to ask.
Just really ask questions and show an interest in the different types of research that we specialize in.
The objective is to get an answer that's as close to correct as possible, and that often takes a melding of psychological testing, traditional cognitive testing, as well as applied neuroscience.
I would prefer to help someone understand the technology so that if they go with us or somebody else, they are asking the right questions, they're using it in the right way. Really, I want them to be empowered as a client because, that helps us help them. So I think, seeing us as a resource is what I would like people to do.
As being the experts, we want to work with you on your research design, select the proper tools, technologies, methodologies that will meet that, and that we're going to deliver those insights and results that will really add and complement your story.
Innovative in that it changes with technology.
I would describe us as go-getters. We are a small, tight-knit group, and we're not afraid of a challenge.
When I think HCD, I think nimble, because I believe that we are very flexible to the needs of a client. We're always staying up to date on the latest technology to introduce new things, add new methodologies or tools or technologies, but we're flexible in working with clients. I love my team.
Bill doesn't wear shoes.
Honestly, they're just the greatest thing. Just the camaraderie, the relationship, the motivation, the just being willing and open to be there for each other in every capacity, not just professionally, personally. Just the greatest people since sliced bread.
I think that the funny part about the reason I like that is just that we are a very laid back group of people that kind of have fun, and I think that kind of just exemplifies that.
My favorite part of working with my team is that I miss talking to them on the weekends, which is very sad, but also very true. I consider them some of my best friends.
I really like the freedom that I have within the team to be able to brainstorm ideas and really think outside the box while also trying to improve what we are currently using, so that way we can always be progressing in a positive manner and really providing the best quality research that we can going forward.
Love you guys.
Awesome, cool.
Thank
I
you
feel
so
like I should
much.
tell them I don't usually look this bad.